off tying some nymphs last time, so I want to do a couple more of those. And then we will get into some, yeah, just whatever we need. Maybe a few bass bugs. I'm not sure, there's something crazy going on with the screen. All right, there we go. There we go. So let's get back on the nymphs. Maybe a few caddis larvae as well. So mayfly nymphs, caddis larvae. Some smaller stones could be on the menu. Do a 14 with the 2.8. Get us started here. It's a good standard size nymph. Go ahead and lock it in. Then we can plan it out. I'm thinking another CDC pheasant tail would be good. Here's 4 fibers. Even those out, tie them in as the tail. And draw the tail back a little. Oh, that's good length. Tie it down. Do tip first, another bunch, 4 fibers, tip first, draw them down. Oh, we ripped one, that's okay, let's pull him out. Get our rib. Last time we did a red wire rib. I'm looking for the scraps of wire we got. We got red wire scrap. And we have black wire scrap. I'll do the black wire scrap this time. Tie that in. And do a wrap of the pheasant behind the wire. Now coming in front of the wire. Wrapping. Oh, we almost lost it. One more for good measure. And tie it off there. Then we'll counter wrap with our black wire to help reinforce that more brittle pheasant tail material. And then we'll trim out both of them. You're not supposed to cut wire with scissors. But my scissors are cheap. Yeah, here's a good piece of peacock. Tie that in. A little further down than I normally do. I'm working on wider thorax nymphs. Slim but more proportional. And we tie it off right there. And then we'll do the CDC collar leg combo. We had this, the tips will do a little bit darker. That's a good amount right there, just that right there on the tip, that leftover. So we'll clip it and then we'll trim it. And then we'll split our thread. And insert the collar leg material. Oh no, I botched it. We might be able to recover. I lost about 60% of it. But there's still some that got into the loop. And it's actually the perfect amount. Nice and sparse is what we like. And then we will let our thread unwind, then we'll whip it, and it's done. But yeah, it's a good appropriate amount right there. But we almost lost the lost it all. We almost lost it all. We were able to recover. This is a jig hook, so it's actually gonna fish like this, theoretically. Alrighty. Cinch that down. It's not a bad tie. This tail fiber is a little shorter than the others, but four in the tail is a good amount. Not a lot of thread buildup behind the bead is also a good point. The abdomen thorax ratio is decent. And then we have our CDC, I think is a good color. You could do it like a lighter gray or dun colored CDC. That also, I've had good success with that. But this is basic nymph you would tie. Nothing special about that. Nothing special. People will put rubber legs on it or a flashback, flash material on it. And those, it's good to have some of those as well. But something basic like this, if you can have confidence in a basic pattern, you will enjoy your day. So you won't be switching out flies all the time. Put a bump of thread to lock that bead in. A little thread base down the shank. Trim it out. And get some tailing material. So this is just a section of pheasant tail, but lower down, these fibers are nice and long. Higher up, these are a little bit shorter. So it makes sense to use the shorter ones for your legs and then the longer section for your body. Just reduces waste a tiny bit. There's still a lot of waste, but you can reduce it a tad. Understanding the feather. I'm gonna go ahead and tie in our tail. I'm gonna start at the bead. I like to have a uniform body rather than tying in at the tail. So I'll come down the whole length of the body. You don't have to do that, but I just like it. I'm gonna stop there. A little bit more pheasant for our body section. Tip first, draw it back, tie it in. And then we were doing black wire. Old black wire, scrappy bits. Tie in the wire. Ideally, you would tie it in right on top, like right on top, but I kind of cock mine to the side. But it does, if you cock it to the side, it does impact the shape a touch. So be warned. One wrap behind, then go in front. Wrapping, 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 and almost to the end, we'll tie off. Counter wrap, so I wrapped clockwise with the body material. I'm gonna wrap counterclockwise with the rib. The rib is just to reinforce the body. And then tie it off. You can do, yeah, maybe we do a wire body print next. which is my poor man's version of a copper john. Do a little peacock curl for the thorax. Hopefully this is enough. Nothing is reinforcing this, and so this is going to be the weak point of this pattern, this thorax. But if you lose it, you're not going to necessarily lose the CDC legs, so the fly will still fish. Might even fish better. Just this material will come unraveled, break, come unraveled. Put a couple more wraps to lock her down. Let's get a CDC feather. See if we can't find another good feather to use. Olive. Might not be bad. Oh yeah, this is good. Nice, long, thin section here. Clip it, trim it out. That's too much, but split the thread. Insert the material. Close the loop on top. Let it go. Spin it up. And let it furl. And then wrap. Slow. Okay, we'll let them unwind. There's one real long one. We'll take that down just a touch, but the rest of them you can keep, long like that. Whip it. 1, 2, 3. Cinch it down. Careful. Do another whip. 1, 2, 3. Cinch it down. Careful. And trim it out. The old CDC pheasant tail. All right, let's do the wire body. A little bit more interesting pattern. The red wire body is a good nymph. Blue is really good. Darker green is a good pattern. But maybe we try to do like a combo situation. Red and chartreuse, or red and black. or copper and red, maybe it could be good. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done copper red combo. I'll try that. Do copper red combo with a red biot tail. This will be fun. These are some haggard looking biots, but they're nice and thin, good for tail material. Not good for anything else. We'll do one on each side. Shorten them up a bit. That's good. One on each side. There we go. Try to bring him down all the way. If you want him flared a little bit more, you could put a wrap of thread in between, but it's already flared enough for my liking. And then we'll trim out the excess there. All right, let's get our wire. We were gonna do copper red combo. So here's darker copper, but it might not be the same diameter as our red. Let's check. Yeah, the red looks a little bit thicker, so that's not going to be a good match. Yeah, these look the same. This spool is a mess. Holy moly. Holy moly moly. Here's the end. What a mess. Take some of that off. Get our red. Take some of that off. The wire body. I think John Barr invented the copper john. But when I was a kid, the copper john was all the rage. Fly shops couldn't keep those things in stock. Everybody wanted different colors of copper john. So we'll tie in that wire together all the way down to our tail. Come back. If your wire is nice and gathered, you could use the rotary feature, but now it's separating a bit. Yeah, maybe we go by hand. It's at a little bit of an angle. Which I don't think is common. I think they tie them pretty straight on usually. And then the good ties have a taper. Our abdomen is pretty straight, but the good ones have a taper. I like this red copper combo. Not too red, not too copper. It's a good match. Tie that off. Kind of lay those butts down. I'm gonna do a synthetic on our for a thorax. Do a little bit of this ice dove olive, and then we'll do a little bit of brown, darker hare's ear. So we'll combine that, some darker hare's ear and some ice dove olive. And this will be our thorax. You could just do peacock curl, but we'll do something different here. Dubbing rope. Start tightening it down. Doesn't have to be super tight, but. And then we'll dub our thorax. Putting in a little ice dub in thorax, you know, now I don't have to do like a flashback wing case, which saves you a step, gives you the benefit of the flashy thorax without the hassle of a 3-step wing case. Some legs would be nice. You could do buyout for the legs, but I have this nice mallard, a little bit darker barred mallard. I want to see if we can't incorporate this. We could split it, thread it, spin it like we did with the CDC, or we could do bunches. I'm going to do bunches for this one. So we'll gather a good bunch, an appropriate amount. We'll cut it out, and then I'll tie it in. Measure the length first. Tie it in. Too loose. Right on top. And then I'm going to split it. Portion it rather, section it out. It's a little bit long. And then I'm gonna travel one side down, travel the other side down, if I can get my fat fingers on it. We want them on the side. We're gonna lose some of them, which is fine. So I got a bunch on the side, a bunch on this side. Don't worry about this. This mess we can clean up later. I'm gonna gather the legs, then I'm gonna cinch it as tight as you're comfortable with cinching. That's 3, that's pretty secure. I should have shortened. I could have drawn them back and shortened them up, but at this point it's a little bit too late to do that. A little bit, we'd shorten them a little bit. This one's long. They're long, but it's okay for me. And then we'll cut out the butts. Gather again. Draw them down. If you've built up too much of a thread too much thread buildup, you could add a little bit more dubbing to kind of hide that. I think that's the reason why a lot of people are like, oh, it's a hotspot. No, they're just trying to hide their thread buildup. And then we'll finish it out. Cinch down that width. Cinch down that width. Yeah, this side is a tad longer than the other, but my eyes are failing me. Let's do another one of those. I like that red copper wire combination. We got some comments. I need to read the comments. Something about somebody's daddy. Let's read these comments real fast. What you making? Tying some flies. Michelle Harden. My dad used to make his own flies, but when he was at the hospital passing, someone stole them all. Oh, that's too bad. Thanks for sharing. It brought back good memories. Meanwhile, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear about your dad, and I'm sorry to hear about his flies. I still have, now that you mention it, I keep one from my uncle. It's around here somewhere. But I hope you find one fly your dad tied and you're able to keep it. It's just for the memory. You could also start tying. You don't have to fish to tie. You can just tie. However, I've never met anyone who just ties and doesn't fish. But thank you for sharing that story. All right, let's get to, well, we're doing the same one. We're gonna do the same thing. The biot, wire body biot. And go ahead and get our biot tail. Maybe we change the color of this one. I'm not sure. Stick with the same. So this is goose. Part of the goose feather. I think it's the base of one of the big feathers on the goose. The material is called goose biot. length. Get the other side going. That's a good length right there. One good thing about these wire body patterns is they're durable. Pretty durable. Whereas the pheasant tail is not durable. But the pheasant tail has much more character. At the end of the day, I think a lot of these flies are simply preference and choice. The fishermen like to have a notion of control. And in certain water, you want a certain action or a better material. You know, slower water, sparse, faster water, a bigger profile, things like that. That's for trout. Bass flies are pretty functional. But I think a lot of trout flies are just variations of the same thing. Wire body. Tie it off there. Her tail's looking a little raggedy on this one. Trim it out. And then we'll do our thorax. This was the dubbing blend we made earlier. The thorax, a little bit sparser than our first one, which is fine. Leggies. Should we do the same barred mallard or should we do something else? So I have this kind of brown grizzly hackle, and it's a weird feather. One side is nice barbs, but one side is very webby, and this webby side is not good for dry flies. So I need to strip this feather somehow, but if I strip it, then it's going to ruin it for you'd only get one function out of it. So instead of stripping, I'm going to clip like we did with our CDC. And I'm just going to use a little section of this. And I'm going to take out the feather slowly. Then I have the bottom fibers I can use for something, and I can use the top fibers for something. We'll use these fibers for our leg. They're a good color. We'll split our thread. And then we will insert that material. That's a pretty thin split. Oh, we made it. Okay, spin that up. The butts are gonna flare as well, so it's gonna look quite full. We might have to cut some of this out. And then wrapping is always a gamble as well. Ideally, there's good distribution, but you can't really control where it goes. So it's heavy on this side, it's not so heavy on the other side. I'm going to try to drop this down a little bit. No, I got to come up with it a little bit. A little bit more, come up. There. Then we'll preen it back. Preen it back, a couple wraps, and then I'm gonna thin it out. Thin it out up top. Thin it out on the bottom. That's not bad. A little spot of dubbing and hold everything in place. Then we'll finish off the fly. Three turns on the whip. 2 turns on the whip's okay too. Let's cinch that down. Thin this out a little bit more. Body pattern. Alrighty. I'm gonna tie again today. I've got to work a little bit, but I think we have time for one more. What to tie? do something a little bit beefier. We got a 3.8 and then a size 12. Do a little bit beefier bug. I should up my thread size as well, but I don't think I'm going to. You just end up using more of this thinner thread. That's okay. Right. So I'm thinking a little, yeah, I haven't done this. There's a Stonefly pattern called the 20-incher. But I don't think I've ever tied it on a jig. No, I know what I'm gonna tie. I know what I'm tying. I want to do a yellow stone. And thread body yellow stone. So we'll put 2 buyouts, one on each side. These are pretty brittle. Okay. Trim out the butts. And then we will do floss body, wire rib. This isn't really floss, this is a Kevlar thread, but I like the color. And I'm gonna double it up just so we get a little bit better coverage. A little bit better coverage on there. Yeah, good luck cutting that stuff without tension. Not gonna work. So we'll do floss body. Oh, I got just have one. We got one strand of our floss. And then a little, I want to do a little rib. But, yeah, maybe this crystal flash. A little crystal flash rib on there. It's crinkled, but it will lie flat when you give it tension. and do one wrap behind. Then we'll do one wrap in front. See, the floss is already starting to go, which is okay. Maybe come back and cover that, yeah, a little bit better. Gather it, tie it off. Get a little tension and snip. The Kevlar thread, you could use it for your articulated connections. It works well. And we'll do a rib with the crystal flash. And then we'll give this a little coat of some nail polish. But we gotta make sure all of our ends are cleaned up. Yeah. A little coat, just to drop. Hopefully that doesn't stay there, drop. Stay there. Kind of move it around. Move it around a bit. Rotate it, rotisserie. Tie off, and then we'll let that dry. Shouldn't take too long, but we might have to come back to this. You don't want to rush it. I usually rush it. But 24 hours would be the best thing to do. Just let that cure for 24 hours. If you're using UV resin, you can do it like that. But I don't like to use UV. We'll undo that. And then we'll let that sit. We'll let it sit and cure. And while that's curing, I carved this. I was playing around with a wine cork, and I was thinking like a cork popper. So I kind of carved this out, and we'll have to do that someday. I don't know if I have the courage to do it right now. I'm not very good at corks and such. While we're waiting, let's do a little guy. Another little guy. Got some little pheasant tails. We got some little wire bodies. Let's do a little caddis larva. Yeah, I think we do a little caddis larva. The small cream colored caddis larvae are so deadly. However, variation. And so I'm gonna do a cream colored pattern, or that whatever this floss color was. It's a little bit messy, but I think we'll still be able to salvage it. You could dub it as well. So we'll get this, try to clean that up a bit. Tie this in, no tail. As far down as you can go. And then we can do a kind of casing for it. This is just for the variation of color. I was gonna do pheasant tail, but maybe a hare. Maybe a hare. Don't sleep on this. So bucktail is not as dense as regular deer hair, so it doesn't float. But this will give us a good variation of color. Especially the tips. The tips are real thin. So clean that up. And they tie down so nice. Trim that out. This is a variation of the Colorado Caddis. Gives us a little body, a little bit more body. I should have tied this in first, and then the floss. And then I'm gonna come in with a chartreuse rib for our bling. But waltz worm would be a variation, a simpler variation of this kind of fly. But anything small, creamy, or mustardy yellow is gonna be a winner. Wrap the body. Just this floss with the rib is enough. Actually, just this floss is enough. You can skip the rib. And then we'll fold over our body material, our case. Tie that down. Trim that out. Wrap the rib. And then what I like is a black head. You don't need it. You could do like a peacock curl. But if you have a rabbit, a little black rabbit hair. Yeah, this is just a dyed rabbit. Loose, that's too much. Loose rope. Loose rope. You want it to kind of fall apart and be wispier. that. This is a good pattern. Black thread would be good for this. But the dubbing is on a loose rope, so it's gonna start falling apart, getting wispy. Nice slim body. Little color variation. We could have done a better job of that. But the profile is good for Caddis. All right. Yeah, our little yellow stone. Well, I'm gonna risk it. You shouldn't do this. You should just let it cure. But we'll risk it. Risk it for the biscuit. We'll tie this, we'll finish this simple. Simple. We'll do a little thorax. I've got our leftover blend, and then a little of the darker hare's ear we pulled for the caddis pattern. We'll combine that and do a little thorax. It's sparse, but it's enough. And then we can go ahead and add some legs. But I'm not liking that. I'm thinking not liking that either. This is a good feather. A little bit long, actually. But I like the thin, softer tips. Maybe we can get a better feather than that. Maybe not. Yeah. We're gonna do a combo. So we got a little bit of our natural, a little bit of the brighter yellow, and I'm gonna pair them up. And then I'm gonna clip them together. Kind of combo leg color. Trim them out. And we'll tie them in thick. That'll be enough. For our experimental golden stone. hard time splitting this thread. There we go. Not a great split, but it'll do. All right, so this is pretty thick. But I think it'll be okay. Wrap it. We'll thin it out later. We'll just get it on there. But leaving it kind of thick like that might also be good. I'm gonna leave it, and then if I feel like it's too thick on the river, I'll start whacking some of those off. I should let this thread unwind actually, before I start knotting it up. Some of it's already coming out. That's okay. This will sink like a stone, given that the body is lacquered, and then this CDC doesn't create much what's the word? Volume in the water. Water retention, anyway, it'll sink quickly. And then it's just a matter of cleaning up these legs to a point where I'm comfortable. The fish probably don't care. And that's the golden stonefly. All right, let us review. We did some good ones today. Made some progress for sure. What do we got? We got 2 little pheasant tails with a black wire rib, and then we did our wire body. This one has mallard legs, this one has hen hackle legs, and then we comboed copper and red wire, which I like dyed orange pheasant tail, and it kind of gives me that vibe. And then we did our caddis, which has the bucktail back, chartreuse rib, but also a cream belly, and then a loose black rabbit collar. I like that for a caddis pattern. It's a variation of a Colorado caddis. And then we did our stonefly, which had the floss body as well, crystal flash rib, lacquered, blended dubbing thorax with the CDC legs. Just an impressionistic, fast water, simple fly, searching fly. I've got confidence in patterns like this, randomly fishing them places. They work. This one would be more durable. This is just the classic. And then this one is a little bit more specific if you want to fish caddis. All right, we'll be back. I think I'll tie again this afternoon. I've got a lot of flies to tie. Some boxes to fill. So we'll be back. Bye-bye.